I love creating the podcast. If you have enjoyed the episodes in any way, the best way to support me is my subscription link. For as little as $3 a month, you can help support the time and production cost included in producing the podcast. My name is Barbara Ann Briggs, and I'm a certified teacher of transcendental meditation and also a certified consciousness advisor. I'm also the author of 3 books: Pilgrimage on the Path of Love, a novel of visionary fiction, which has been hailed as the perfect amalgamation of spiritual awakening and self-discovery. I'm also the author of The Contribution of Maharshi's Vedic Science to Complete Fulfillment in Life. This book contains over 100 quotations by Maharshi Mahesh Yogi. My 3rd book is called Guide to Good Health: 7 Simple Health Hacks, and this book explains the fundamentals of Ayurveda. I'm a poet and a freelance journalist with numerous articles published in many different parts of the world. In this podcast, The Essence of Life, we will begin to understand the meaning of what is actually the essence of life and where can we find it. The essence of life is hidden in the silent source of life itself. The subject of today's podcast is tips to improve digestion. Digestion is one of the most important aspects of health because in the ancient Ayurvedic text it is written: lifespan, radiation, strength, health, immunity, energy, heat processes, and vital breath. All this depends on Agni, and Agni is that digestive fire which helps us to metabolize the food that we eat. So with good digestion, we can absorb the benefits of our food, and the general principles to enhance digestion are these 7 principles. Number 1, always favor fresh foods that are freshly prepared for each meal. Meals should be delicious, warm, and cooked. We should not eat leftover food or food that has been left in the refrigerator and reheated the next day. This type of food is not really beneficial for our health. Number 2, favor whole foods and avoid highly refined and processed foods and foods which contain genetically modified organisms. So we have to actually look at the labels of the food and see if it contains any highly processed elements or additives or preservatives, or even if it contains genetically modified organisms. Number 3, it is best to favor a lacto-vegetarian diet as much as possible, because a lacto-vegetarian diet is more easily digested than a diet which contains meat products in it. Number 4, it's best to eat at a regular time every day. Number 5, always sit down to eat, and it's best not to work, read, or watch television while eating. Because if we divide the mind and we're eating and also working on our computer or checking the notifications on our phone, then our digestion will not be able to function at its top level. There will be some division of the mind, and the digestion will be affected by that division. Number six, avoid too much or too little food. One should always be hungry before eating. So we give enough time for the previous meal to digest so that when we come to our lunch, which is the main meal of the day, we're actually hungry for the meal. And this will help us to digest it completely. And the last point is we should never eat when we're emotionally upset. We should always eat in a calm, relaxed atmosphere. So, this is very important. If we have some emotional disturbance, it's better to postpone eating at that time because the food will not be digested properly and it won't be able to be turned into the most beneficial product if the mind is emotionally upset. It will affect the actual quality of the food that we're eating. So now I'll just go into these different elements in more detail. We said that we should eat at a regular time every day. The most important part of this is that we should make lunch the main meal of the day, and it should be eaten preferably between 11 and 2 p.m. So it shouldn't be eaten after 2 o'clock because after 2 o'clock the digestion is not as strong. The digestive fire, also known as Agni, is strongest at midday when the sun is highest in the sky. Eating late at night is also not advisable as the food will remain undigested. Undigested food creates toxins which can lead to disease because at night the Agni is not very strong. It's strongest during the daytime when the sun is out, and at night the digestive fire is much, much lower. So we should eat a very light meal at night and so that the meal will be digested fully before we go to sleep. So after lunch, a good way to enhance our digestion is to take a glass of lassi. Lassi is 1 part fresh yogurt mixed with 1 to 2 parts water. It can be flavored with cumin, ginger, and salt, or ginger, cardamom, honey, and rose water for a sweet lassi. And we should churn it and liquidize it. And then we can take that after the meal, 1 or 2 sips after the meal. We can also take it intermittently in the afternoon hours of the day. And this will strengthen our digestion and help the food to be digested completely. We can also mix the lassi with some black salt, and black salt is also helpful for digestion. We shouldn't take any foods or drinks direct from the refrigerator, like very cold food and cold water, very cold water or ice water. It actually impairs the digestion because the digestive fire will become much weaker if we take something very cold with our meal or even after the meal. As far as the meals, it's best to take heavy foods at lunchtime because heavy foods are much harder to digest than light foods. Heavy foods are foods which grow closer to the earth and underneath the earth, like potatoes. Foods such as root vegetables are much harder to digest and take much longer to be absorbed. As you move away from the root, the food will be much lighter and lighter to digest. Leafy vegetables are easy to digest. Foods which take longer to cook are harder to digest. So we take the heavy foods at lunchtime. And as far as heavy foods, heavy, oily, and fried foods are much harder to digest. Heavy or fried foods are best taken in very small quantities at midday when the digestion is stronger. Other examples of heavy foods are ice cold food and drink, ice cream, cold milk, meat, fish, eggs, hard cheese, nuts, raw vegetables, raw cereals, and very heavy, fatty, or oily foods. As far as freezer foods and canned foods, these should be avoided as much as possible, as they are very difficult to digest. and canned food is not very healthy for the digestive system. During the meal, we can sip lukewarm water or warm water, but we shouldn't drink large volumes of liquid. If We should avoid drinking too much water 1 hour before and 1 hour after the meal. When the meal is over, it's good to take 5 or 10 minutes to sit quietly after eating. Resting on the left side for 10 minutes is also recommended. Laying on your left side actually allows for efficient digestion because food is driven to move naturally through the stomach and pancreatic enzymes are secreted into the digestive tract, emulsifying the fats and neutralizing the stomach acids. When the digestive system is stimulated in this way, one feels much more energy after the meal. Dinner should be light and taken between 6 and 7 p.m. As I mentioned before, the digestive fire is much less, so we take a very light dinner, which is easy to digest, like soup, or we can take toast, we can take some milky cereal, just some porridge, very light porridge, which will be good for helping us to go to sleep. But we don't take anything heavy like potatoes or non-vegetarian meal at night because it will be very difficult to digest it. There are certain things that we don't take with milk. We should not take milk with the main meal because milk should only be taken with sweet tasting foods or completely separated from the meal by at least 20 minutes. Milk can be taken with cereals or toast, but it should not be taken with any sour, bitter, any foods which have contrasting tastes. We should also not take yogurt, cheese, cottage cheese, or buttermilk at night because eating fermented foods at night is not good for digestion. It is better not to heat or cook with honey because heating honey above room temperature makes it toxic and it's not good for the digestive system. So we should only mix honey with lukewarm liquids or liquids which are at room temperature. According to Ayurveda, there are certain foods which should never be combined. These are equal quantities of honey and ghee should not be taken alone. We should not combine fish and milk, and we should never combine green vegetables and milk. Milk should not be taken with salty, sour, or pungent tastes. It should only be taken with sweet tastes. Yogurt should not be taken with bananas because it's very heavy to digest. Indigestion is due to impaired Agni. The reason that Agni or the digestive fire gets impaired is by mixing wholesome and unwholesome foods together. Also, taking irregular meals at irregular times of the day, and also taking food before the previous meal has been digested. When digestion is impaired, the undigested food produces ama. Ama just means that there are toxins which arise due to the improper assimilation of the food. When food is wrongly combined or when it has been processed, overly processed, when it's consumed at the wrong time of the day or the wrong season, all these things can produce ama, toxins or impurities, which are called ama, clog the channels in the body and cause ill health and a reduction of our inner well-being. Some signs of ama are heaviness, feeling some obstruction in the bodily channels, lack of enthusiasm, a lazy feeling, less strength, frequent spitting, constipation, retention of urine, no appreciation of the taste of the food, and indigestion. According to Ayurveda, Digestion occurs not only through our mouth and digestive tract, it also occurs through our sense organs and our intellect. Diet is anything that is taken in through any of the five senses. So if we want to maximize our health, we pay attention to what we ingest through any of our bodily and sensory organs. Happy sensory perceptions increase happiness. Happiness enhances immunity and longevity. Negative emotions make the body more susceptible to illness. By strengthening our digestion, we prevent imbalances in the physiology. A strong digestive system rejuvenates and revitalizes the mind and body. It enlivens the natural healing processes by awakening the body's innate intelligence. So these were some of the tips on strengthening our digestive fire or Agni. And I'd like to mention here that this knowledge is contained in my book called Guide to Good Health, 7 Simple Health Hacks. So you can find that book on Amazon, and it's in Kindle, and it's also available in paperback in America and in Europe. And in India, it's available on Kindle. So all this knowledge is available in Guide to Good Health, 7 Simple Health Hacks. So it's been a great pleasure speaking to you today, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. If you'd like to learn more about my work, you can go to my website, barbaraannbriggs.com. And I'd also like to invite you to my YouTube channel, Living Wisdom with Barbara Briggs. So it's been a great joy speaking to you today, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Until we meet again, very, very best wishes to you.